Are these the media that I should believe every day? And it was a pretty good answer by Hegseth. I saw it blowing him off.
And as I've written a bunch now in the past, it is the same media that literally had zero problem with everyone in the Biden administration using Signal all the time to discuss sensitive but unclassified information, potentially even more than that, for literally 4 years. All of a sudden now using Signal is apparently a war crime. And I forgot to mention, this is all happening at the Easter egg roll. My friend Marlon's daughter Eliana said they had great merch. She got some nice Easter eggs as well. So it was a great event all around. But this is
I'm glad you're so excited about it.
No, I had a great time. But this is the same.
We've been there so many times before.
I know, for you guys, it's not that cool. I had a great time. But this is the same media that literally refused to cover. It took me about 3 days to figure out that Joe Biden's director of national intelligence used Signal all the time on her personal phone. It took me 2 days to figure out that Joe Biden's top CIA staffers freely disseminated sensitive but unclassified information using Signal on their phones to people who weren't even working in the government. This was never covered by these news outlets.
Now, and Jason, we've seen the memos from the Biden White House recommending that everybody use Signal. The new CIA director was told us that the first day he became CIA director, they said, here's Signal, use Signal. And that's all fine until the fake news media tries to turn it into a hit piece.
Did they share, details about attacks, imminent attacks? If they did that, then that's a problem, and they should have been caught.
Did they?
The media was sleeping on the job, but apparently, in this particular case, of course, they added the media to the chat in the first case, and that's why it became a bigger story. I think when we look at this, maybe you could look at it from a partisan lens, but then when John Elliott starts talking about it and saying there's a full-blown meltdown for the last month. I know John Elliott, and that's a guy with character. I don't care what your politics are. He's not a leftist by any stretch. We disagree on everything, but he's not lying.
He wasn't talking about this app, though. He was just talking about relationships inside the Pentagon. Before the annual Easter egg roll at the White House, on the South Lawn there, lovely setting, President Trump touted the job that the military is doing under Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth.
Our country is doing very well. We had the highest number of recruits, enlistments that we've had in, I think, 28 or 29 years, and I'm sure we're going to actually beat that number. It's all happened. Since November 5th, it's all happened. Enrollment in the military is at a record.
It is always a little weird, I've got to admit, when you see the President of the United States standing there speaking seriously while there's a giant human-sized bunny rabbit next to him.
I think the Easter Bunny also wants to join the military. I'm just saying.
With Dakota Meyer.
Yeah.
So, I think that, I think for President Trump, he has enormous confidence and with Pete Hegseth. He's not about to abandon him. This is someone who likes Pete Hegseth. He was talking about Pete Hegseth when back in the first administration where he wanted Pete Hegseth to serve as Secretary of Veterans Affairs. So full confidence there. Pete Hegseth has actually, think has brought a lot of enthusiasm to the military, unlike Lloyd Austin.
Well, the recruitment numbers way up, and we're killing. President Trump talked about today. Said, ask the Houthis how they think Pete Hegseth is doing, because they're having the modernity bashed out of them with bombs. After NPR, National Panhandler Radio, floated a story based on anonymous sources that the White House is in the process of looking for a new defense secretary. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt quickly shot that phony story down, posting on X. This NPR story is total fake news based on one anonymous source who clearly has no idea what they're talking about. As the president said this morning, he stands strongly behind Secretary Hegseth. So that seems pretty clear and concise.
Look, I think going back to what Jason was saying, the big difference between, yes, there was the mistake of putting that Atlantic reporter on the first Signal chat.
One reporter, big mistake.
But here's the thing. Pete Hegseth now has gotten rid of 3 or 4 top advisors at the Department of Defense, and they're clearly going to have their fingerprints all over a series of defamatory leaks that will come out now. And so we should all get ready for all these nasty stories. And Mercy's right. At the end of the day, what matters is, does the president have trust in Pete Hegseth? I think every indication is that he does. In the meantime, you're going to find little, what's the swear word I can use the day after Easter, people in the White House who are
on this network.
Who are like 17 years old, who want to tell members of the Wreckham liberal establishment media nasty things about internal fights inside the White House, and they should find out who those people are and kick them out too.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.